Hello.
That's how you want to start off today?
You know I got draw. Like. But hey y'all, what's up? You sis. We doubled up on y'all niggas today. It's 4 of us. It's a round table of motherfuckers today. Hello, the quartet.
Hi y'all, we are back for another episode of To Each His Own podcast, and it's Father's Day, bitch.
Yeah.
And y'all see we got a couple of dads.
And I'm a daddy's girl.
We got daddy's girl and dads today, so it's finna be a lit one.
Yeah, okay.
I am one of your lovely hosts. I told y'all I'm Chrissy, bitch.
And I am Sunkist Chalk, and together we are To Each His Own.
And we are joined by the wonderful, wonderful host of More Than a Dad podcast today.
Give him a little cake. Yeah. First of all, we just hype as shit.
Go on, hype. Come on, hype, Mrs. Williams.
So introduce yourself. I don't know who wants to start first or whatever. Just tell them who you are.
Come on, kick it how y'all normally kick it.
Well, I'm Lou Mobley,
I'm Drake Moore.
and we More Than a Dad podcast.
Hey.
Period.
Hey,
Yes.
and can I just ask each of you gentlemen, how long have each of you been fathers?
I've been a dad for 13 years.
Ooh, professional.
My oldest son is 13, 3 kids altogether.
Okay.
My daughter will be 12 in September. My youngest son is 4. He'll be 5 in July.
Oh, I love that age. I do. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've been a dad for 4 years. My son will be 4 July 8th, and my daughter will be 1 on Wednesday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You had a pandemic baby.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
They're a little different.
I heard.
Yo, they
I
really are though.
I heard. That's
Working
why
with them
I
every day.
mentioned that. I heard. What is the difference between a pandemic baby and non-pandemic baby?
Can I just say one thing before you say anything?
Oh,
I'm not a parent,
I'm teacher.
but I work with kids.
I'm
I'm
about to say
gonna say the
teacher.
social emotional development is very fucking different. Go ahead.
My experience is that I've been working from home for like 3 years.
Got you.
So like your hands-on parentness is a little higher. So she's developing a lot faster. I mean, and she's the second child, so she's developing because what we teaching her, but she's also watching her brother.
Absolutely.
And being home for this time is like way different than like 6 weeks you send your kid to daycare and you go to work. You know, so that's a whole different aspect. Like I worked with my daughter on my lap for 8 months before I put her in daycare.
I just want to cry.
That is so cute.
It is so fucking precious.
It's so cute because I remember I used to sleep with my dad like on his chest when he came home from work. So I'm just thinking about that like, oh yeah. Again, y'all don't hear with daddy's girls, so
Because me and my dad was cutting up last night too. They be calling me Tim Jr. Oh my God, like I really love that. And to add to that, like let me just say, being a dad and having that experience, I feel like it really kind of like brought, you know, everybody more so like, all right, down to earth, like, all right, listen, nigga, we in the house for real. Like we have to face these motherfuckers all day. Like we ain't even gotta, so you gotta work and you gotta be a parent. So it's just like, all right now, you can't be crying when I'm on this conference call. Like,
y'all know how many kids crying I heard on conference call in the last 2 years?
Hell yeah. First of all,
hold on, I gotta get my child. I understand. I don't, but you got it.
yeah, knocking the damn Zoom all to the left, it just be like, yo. And I don't know how y'all do it, but I take my hats off. It's definitely an adjustment, and I just wanna say, first of all, happy Father's Day.
Yes.
Because this is dropping on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everyone out there who is an active, a present father who is putting their best foot forward and taking fatherhood very seriously. And I'm gonna let you motherfuckers know. First of all, I put a status up this morning on Facebook and I told you motherfuckers, I'm not playing. This year, we are not taking no shit. We are here to celebrate those who are present. Don't you come on Facebook, Instagram, none of these SMs, none of this shit with y'all bullshit.
Metaverse.
We are here to celebrate. Okay? Fuck the niggas that ain't here. Celebrate the niggas who in here. How about that? Bars.
Give it up for the guys who are.
I just had to do that.
Period.
So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, so we can appreciate y'all. So we're going to jump into some what's going on, some topics that's going on in the streets right now outside of Father's Day. Get into a little summer icebreaker, and we going to get y'all nice and acquainted with our audience with some topics and some questions. Okay? All right, you ready, chat?
Yes.
What's the first what's going on for?
So coming up this week, we got Philly Cigar Week. My dad is a big fan of that. Last night I was guard dogging.
No.
I was guard dogging his cigar last night because he was like smoking the shit out the joint.
I like being in the atmosphere, although it kind of gives me a migraine a little bit, kind of like hookah. Not as bad as hookah does, but I guess if you do it right, it's not as bad. No, but it's a good it's a good chill. It do be thick. Ooh. But as far as the guys and the kind of the demeanor, the atmosphere, it's real chill. Cause that whole cigars on ice vibe is. I ain't gonna lie, it's it.
It's just the ambiance.
It's it. Shout out to Cigar Code, by the way.
That's my man's.
Slide day this week. That's my man's in them. Real shit. And so my dad's always been like an avid cigar smoker. Like many Father's Day, like I know his favorite cigar shops. I'll go there. I'll get him a couple cigars. I'm probably gonna go get him some more. That's his favorite thing. I think it's a classy thing. It's you know, not everybody's thing, but I like it. The ambiance, whatever. I feel like actually for his 60th birthday, that was one of his centerpieces. So I did cigar boxes. And I did lemongrass plants, and I had cigars sitting in the like my fucking centerpieces is off the hook. Needless to say, as an avid cigar smoker, someone who appreciates smoke, he likes it. So yes, so for that, and it's also Men's Mental Health Month.
Yes,
so we want to peer into that and see. We just want to check in with y'all. How are y'all doing mentally as men in today's society, and what's
who wants to go first? I feel like you want to go first.
Dre was like heavy.
I'm looking at him like, yeah, this is a layup for Dre. Here you go.
Yeah. It's hard to just you always gotta like present yourself in a certain way.
Yes.
So like I'm gonna give you like it's not a small example. So my dad passed last year. No, it's cool.
Happy Father's Day, OJ.
Yeah, that's a fact. But like going through that whole process, like I didn't have no time to grieve. Like my mom was dealing with what she was dealing with. They've been married for 30 years.
Damn, that's
so like
life.
She spent her whole life, with him. Like that's her partner. So like she going through what she going through. My kids going through what they going through, and like everybody around me is just they in a panic essentially. Like they don't really know the left from right. Like it was crazy. So now mind you, we way removed from that now. But even like now to like this day, like I had to have a conversation with my son, my oldest son, about it, because like he was crying to his mom about it, but he never said nothing to me about it. Like we never had a conversation about it, and it was just like, well, why you ain't saying nothing to me? He like, oh well, like, I didn't want to like make you upset. He like, I didn't want to make you sad, so he was holding it in. Like I didn't know if I could talk to you, but I'm like, man, I've been being strong for everybody. Like, of course, I'm going to be your outlet if you need to get it off. But it just made me think about, like, how we condition as men from an early age. Like, he was putting his feelings on the back burner around me and tiptoeing around me because he didn't want to upset me. And that's something that we do every day. When we got a problem, it got to go to the back burner. And you got, like Lou has spoken this before, you got to handle everybody else's problem before you get to yours. And then it's a lot of times you don't even get to yours. Like your self-care gotta be something totally different. Like I do therapy, like that helps. Like it's a big thing.
No, because as in our 9 to 5s, we champion that because that's something good, and we don't want people to think that they are stigmatized because of that. Because I feel like it's not to say that it doesn't work for it works for everyone, but and that in conjunction with other things can be a very helpful tool. So thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah, and just as a man, like having that outlet where like I could get this up off me and put it on somebody else without having to worry about somebody else's judgment or somebody else's problem. Because like even if you bring it to your lady, she got her own stuff she dealing with. It's just a different interaction where you could just be vulnerable and open up in your own and not have to, like worry about somebody else's problem. Because even if like you got to think like if I'm maintaining majority of the stuff in the household, I'm paying most of the bills, I'm doing all of this. If it's getting tight, I'm frustrated with something, trying to figure out how I'm gonna get some more money. If I put that on her, it's just gonna add more stress. Now she's stressed too. Now I gotta combat your stress, and I'm trying to figure this out on my own. So you need that outside entity that's just unbiased, where you could get some of these things up off you. So it's definitely important.
That's some very good perspective. I appreciate that outlook.
It really is.
What, you got anything to add to that, Lil?
Yeah, I do actually.
Come on, Lil. Come on through, Lil.
All right, so we recently had an episode. I think it was like around the topic of like just the pressure of being a man. So I think it's very similar. And I would just say that it's heavy to like lead a household. Like it's super heavy. Like I'm gonna move us here. I'm gonna put my kids in this school district. We're gonna raise them with this type of morals. And like the pressure of, am I right or wrong? Because if I'm wrong, I screw up their whole life.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
You think parenting come with a instruction manual?
No, I don't.
And me as not being a non-mother, I realize that. So I really respect the fact that you were man enough to even say that, because I don't think enough men say that out loud in that kind of way, where it's like not where you're trying to blame the woman for like being like the like neck instead of the head,
right.
Because that's how I look at it, because without no neck you can't turn no motherfucking where. These muscles is essential. So yeah, the neck do a lot of more things than just that. So yeah, I'm just trying to put it into perspective. So I appreciate that perspective, but go ahead and expand. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I'm so sorry. But
like for example,
right.
like I grew up in South Philly.
Okay.
I'm raising my kids in the suburbs now. Like
Okay.
one of the examples I said was my environment was like extremely hostile, violent. You know what I mean? It was a traditional inner city neighborhood. My kids are not gonna grow up with them same battles. Mm-hmm. Like the things that I was equipped with to get out of my environment, they won't even need. Mm-hmm. You know, like I look like everybody else that's around me. My kids growing up in an area where they stick out. They might be one or two black kids in a classroom.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that always beneficial?
No, I don't think it's always beneficial. But me and Dre talk all the time about we guys got to give our kids better odds.
Absolutely.
So we got to put our kids in the best situation with resources.
Right.
So it's not always we got to lean towards we got to be around this type of nonsense because that's familiar to me. It's not always what's best. You know what I mean? Like even like the school, some of the schooling have a lot more support and stuff than like a South Philly High or Bach or something would have had, right? Mm-hmm. So like I just feel like as a parent, you got to start thinking like that. You got to think about the future.
Yep.
And as a man, I'd be like, man, am I doing the right thing? Because all it takes is my son to get stopped by a cop in a group of, he the only black kid out of everybody else that could like give him a type of trauma that I don't even know how to coach him through.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think about stuff like that. My daughter, you know, my wife is Haitian, so she real into like natural hair. Like if my daughter get teased in school for having curly hair and she ain't pressing her joint out all the time, like I'm gonna feel a type of way about that. But that's a whole different type of environment. It's different than the environment I came up in. Mm-hmm. So like you have to be honest as a parent and be vulnerable. Like the decisions you make, there's a lot of pressures in the decisions you make.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? So that's just my take on that.
That's one of the scariest things about being a parent.
And I think that's the reason why we, and honestly, and people take it as if we are like, oh, we're celebrating the fact that we don't have children. No, we realize, because me and you are the oldest of a tribe. I think we take into account what it really takes, because we've seen our mothers as single mothers, and you know your mother was married for a portion of your life, a lot of
through marriage, divorce, being sick,
all that shit.
It's a lot,
and it's like you don't see them buckle down, like not in a sense like, oh my God, like life is just taking me there. Like no, they rose to the fucking occasion. So it was like, damn, I still gotta go through all this shit and be a mom at the end of the day. Bitch, when I come home, I'm taking off my bra. Fuck y'all, I ain't cooking shit. What you talking about? These slides is coming off, and I'm gonna get the fuck on the couch and I'll be like, this, on Netflix.
And which is why I'm like, people get so offended when we go from the parenting as a choice thing, but it
really is.
Like you can find out that you have a child coming into this world and make the decision to say, okay, we're gonna go forth through it. But it's people who find out there and decide not to.
That's the last choice. I call it the before the you go into it knowing that, all right, I'm taking the chance here. Like,
right,
is this a person that I would hold in high regard when I'm thinking about picking a parent for my child? Because essentially that's what sex is for, to reproduce. So we have to be real about that, and I don't think people take that into account either. And I think that's really, when it comes to co-parenting, that's why people bump heads so much. And even to get back into the topics and talk about, like, y'all just answered our first question like shit. Mm-hmm. So we were really going to ask you guys, like, how is, like, the way you raise your kids, how does that compare to how you were raised, and what do you want for your kids, and what do you aspire to bring to their lives as a parent, and like that whole perception, like what are you trying to change?
I feel like we the cheat code, only because
my fucking nigga.
I feel like we the cheat code because like in the hood growing up, like I was one of so many friends that had two parents in the house.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So and I was raised with older parents. Like my dad had me at 63 years old.
Damn! And he's still here too, right?
No, you know.
Oh, it's okay.
But you know, he built me right. We good. You know what I mean? So, but the point of it being a cheat code is like. 63 and he was retired, so he was hands on. Like, he wasn't going to work.
And this is why I be telling men when they try to tell me I can't talk to older guys, they still got it.
No, they do.
Yeah, them John swim.
When we was 13, we had a friend whose dad legit was 70.
Them John
That's
swim.
how I be trying to tell y'all that.
Sperm still work. Don't get it fucked up just because your eggs ain't correct.
That's a blessing for real. Yeah.
Title of the episode, them John still swim.
Oh.
I used to mess with my dad about that, John, all the time. I'd be like, man, I can't. You wasn't trying to have no kid, was you? You thought your joint ain't work no more, cuz.
What's your dad, 51?
51, yeah.
Oh, that shit still work.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting it.
If y'all ask me how old my partner is right now, that shit still work.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting it, man.
Yeah,
He's sick. My mom ain't get rid of me, dog.
But he love you, baby. He love you.
Yeah, but he was sick about that.
Yo, and I was sick when my dad had my brother. My dad was only in his early 40s, so I really thought my dad was
I thought my mom was tripping at 33 when she had my baby brother. Because I told her she was too old. Y'all talking about 63 and 51.
My mom was 38.
I was just talking shit.
My mom was 38, my dad was 63. That's crazy.
My mom,
Your mom was me. I know that's
no,
right.
my mom was 24. My dad was 51.
She was no, she really big. She really big. That's her. She do the older crowd, but it's all right, you know. Dog.
What's the question? What's back to the question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
The question was your parenting. So how is it different from what you grew up? So how was your household? What are you doing differently with your parenting style to make sure that your kid is like thriving?
Yeah, we were saying y'all had
That's basically what I'm saying.
Already like unconsciously.
Yeah. So think about how you were raised versus what you do consciously to make sure that these things aren't instilled in your child on accident. Like, oh shit, I don't want them to think this, so let me just like maneuver this shit this way. Because honestly, one of the biggest taboo things that parents don't like to talk about is sex. And I can tell you right now, I had a conversation with a coworker that scared the shit out of me. Because as a woman, I feel like you should definitely be out here telling your daughters what they should and should not do. You can't rely on another motherfucker to tell your child how to conduct themselves in different positions. I'm never comfortable with me going to the doctors and telling them, oh yeah, you're my pediatrician, just tell my daughter about sex and about her. Bitch, what? No, she don't know about she know about the streets you be in. 9 times out of 10, she gonna probably be, you know what I'm saying, wherever y'all live at, she gonna be diving into that cesspool of people. You know the dating pool got pee in it a little bit, so you gotta be careful. I'm sorry, y'all, I be turned.
No, I mean from a parenting perspective, like I think like I was raised right. So my dad was retired. I had my dad divided from work and entrepreneur. I got my dad from the 22 years. I got it. Yeah, like I didn't
love
do
that.
I didn't do daycare and like stuff like that. He watched me, right? And my mom was a working woman. She actually worked not that far from around here, 11th Market. She worked at Airmark.
Got you.
46 years or something crazy. So my growing up, my dynamic was always like my dad like was super hands on. He volunteered to school, took us on field trips. Like he was like everybody else's mom was doing that in class. That was my dad. You know what I mean? He was coming in, the teacher like flirting with him. Can you cry for turkey, Mr. Lewis?
Not flirting with him.
My mom had to come in and like kind of press some people.
You're like, that's still my husband, bitch. Yes.
Yeah. So, but I seen him like fix a bunch of stuff, like cars, house. Like he was like fixing up the house. Like you could tell, like he was like a skilled dude,
resourceful man.
Yeah, and he only had like a 10th grade, 9th grade education.
That was my grandmother.
You know what I mean? So. And then my mom was the other side. My mom was like the schooling, like, yo, boy, you don't want to be average. You don't want to be these boys on the corner. Like she was helping me do my schoolwork and stuff. So if you see me on Instagram and we be teaching the kids, I get that educational side from my mom. I get the work ethic and stuff from my dad. You know what I mean? So that's why. And the only things I want to do different is just expose my kids to more earlier. You know, my mom, they still had like, financial constraints on like what they could put us in and stuff like that. And I don't have them same constraints as a parent.
Absolutely.
You know, my son is in swimming, performing arts. He's in a math teaching class. You know what I mean? It's like my son not even 4 yet.
That's what's up.
Period.
You know what I mean? So.
Oh my God! Yes, I love it. I'm just over here like
I just love to see. Black men specifically just not. I hate I'm not going to say hate because hate is such a strong feeling. But I dislike when people get to a certain age, especially in the black culture, we tend to do this. We become 18 and we have this expectancy. Oh, well, what's life supposed to happen next? We're so used to having our parents and teaching us things and trying to instill things. We become 18 and feel like the world owes us something. And I feel like that's one of the worst issues with this current Generation Z, X, whatever the hell letter it is. I feel like that's one of the worst concerns with this generation. They have this expectancy. Like they feel like the world owes them something and y'all don't know shit. Like y'all don't know shit and y'all feel like somebody owes y'all something and y'all don't take the initiative to want to get up and want to build and go out there after your own and say, okay, I'm going to take from what I know and move forward and try to get a little bit more. And it saddens me to see that. And I'm like, I'm glad to see that that's exactly what you took and what you got from that. And you can build another generation on top of what you learned.
Come on, sis. Come on, sis.
I have a undying question on you.
Please ask. We love when you talk.
So in Philly, right? And I don't know about other places specifically, but in Philly, a lot of people have a very closed-minded attitude towards things.
That's a fact.
Right.
Which builds a culture on how generations perceive other things. So there's this closed-minded attitude of, you know, I'm not gonna have any kids, or just like, you know, just the way that we may treat a lot of our men may treat women wrong due to the fact that they haven't learned it, due to the fact that they don't have a dad, right?
Or and vice versa, yeah.
And do you think that being a father has made you look at certain things differently due to the fact of like you actually being a dad, right?
Present.
Because me growing up, I'm not gonna lie, like my mom told me at an early age, like I was not planned to be had. And I think because of that, I've always been in my head of I'm not going to have any kids, but it's more due to the fact that I was not planned, and it was something that I had to learn and figure out. So I don't know. It's more a question like for me, but it's also a question that like I felt like I needed to.
Baby, can I let you in on something?
Mm-hmm.
My mom just said last night that my sister was the makeup baby. Okay, period. All right, we love her, no less.
Right.
My other sister was just came out the blue. That's it. That's just what, like my dad was just having it his way, and that's just it.
Yeah.
I love you, daddy, and you know I'm you, part 2. But anyway, nigga was a Rolling Stone.
And nothing makes a difference.
And nothing makes a difference because let me tell you, my mom told this young man last night, he said, I got 5 mistakes. My mom said, let me stop you right there. I don't know you, young man. She said, but let me tell you something about these kids, and let me tell you something about what God ordains. He picks and chooses who he wants to be parents. And it's up to you to rise to the motherfucking occasion. Your child ain't no mistake, and you need to treat them like you are their parent on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's just it. You gotta rise to the motherfucking, if you gonna get on the pot and piss, or you gonna get the fuck off. And that's just it. So don't ever think that you are a mistake, because you are here, you are breathing, you are living right now. Get that message out your head. Go ahead.
But even with that being said, like it took me going away for school, like 5 hours away, to see other parents, to see how other people were living, seeing the difference. Like, you know, we live in row homes, everything touching. You get out there and there's mad acres of land. Like, I dreamed that by going and leaving. I took having daddy for granted a little bit in regards to like, I didn't think that was special. That's like my superpower today.
Yeah. A lot of niggas don't have that.
I took it for granted. I'm going to school. I'm not realizing like, yo, there ain't no other dads dropping their kids off. There's a bunch of moms, aunties, grandmas. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that was a deciding factor, because even having, you know, I was a planned baby or whatever, it didn't change the trajectory. What happened was I seen something outside of my neighborhood. You know, it's people that don't. We got to be real. It's friends that people travel and everything.
No, real shit. And I think that traveling is a big thing of it.
Yeah, that's the reality of that Philly mentality.
Yeah.
Like, people don't know nothing besides this block.
Yeah.
So what you see is what you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you say, exposure equals expansion?
Yeah,
exposure equals expansion. So, like, what you see is going to dictate where you're going to go. If you know that it's bigger than this right here, then you're going to navigate to something, you know, more towards that. But, like, it don't really... Like, I'm just going to keep it a bean since we here rapping. Like, you can't... I had to go to therapy to learn to be secure in myself with stuff, especially when it came to my parents. So, backstory between my parents, my dad and I didn't meet my biological mom till I was 16. I didn't even know she existed until I was 16. Like, I had a mom that I called mom that was with my dad from the entire time. They didn't tell me till I was 16. Wow. So in my mind, I already knew like my dad was old. He wasn't really trying to have no kids. That just happened. My mom wasn't here, so it was like, damn, she didn't want me neither. So now it's like, damn, neither one of y'all really kind of want me. And like, I started to think like that. You know what I'm saying? And I carried it for a long time. I had to like, it took me till I probably was like 28 to uncover it through therapy. But the whole time I was still navigating and going on. Like you gotta just work around whatever you feeling until you figure out how you can get beyond that. Because what'll happen is if you let something like that cripple you and you don't push forward until you could get around it, then you're gonna end up in a bad situation. Wow. Because by the time you wake up and come up out of it, it's already too late.
And don't let it deter you. Like if your happiness in your life you think involves you being a father, I wouldn't just write that off. You know what I mean? Because of your personal experience, you might be the best parent out of all of us in here.
No, that's real shit.
You know what I mean? Don't let it deter you. You know, if you think like marriage or having kids is a part of like what you look like happy for the rest of your life, then you go do that. You don't hold on to like that trauma. You know what I mean? You don't hold on to that mindset. You can outgrow that.
Yeah, you just make sure you never make them kids feel how they made you feel. That's really, you know what I'm saying? You just take it and channel your energy into that. And you get positive results.
It's the men speaking to the men for me. I'm sorry. I just had to have a moment.
It's crazy because just like Anna said, like prior to the first topic, y'all went right into answering the next question we was going to ask y'all.
Yeah, they did. They really did. Y'all niggas
the next
questions
question literally was, when it comes to like co-parenting or that culture through a father's eyes, how can you improve it? What kind of insight can you give new or expecting or frustrated fathers?
I put frustrated. I literally just put frustrated yesterday because I'm like, it's a lot of niggas out here who not necessarily in a. You can't say it's a 1,000 or 100% bad place with the mother of their children, but they're not necessarily on. They're not seeing eye to eye when it comes to like getting that system down pat.
Sometimes, you know what I realized? I recently learned sometimes it's not even about how a parent, whether it be father or mother, but right now we're talking about dads. It's not even about how they were treated or how they co-parent with the opposite parent, but sometimes it's about how they were treated as a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's not even how they it's not their co-parenting skills are not about the opposite person that they're co-parenting with.
It's about how they were treated.
About how they came up and their factors, how they was treated from their mother, their father, what their life was like.
We recently put up on our Instagram page 5 co-parenting tips. So one was constantly work on your communication with your co-parent. And always had the tough conversations early. You know what I mean? So like you talking about like your logic on parenting, like do you believe in beating the kids or not? How you know what I mean? Like them things you gotta have early. Number 2 was stick to a consistent schedule, so there's no confusion that we're not gonna be beefing over.
There you go.
Right. And then the third thing was like remove your ego and focus on co-parenting.
That should be first.
They get better. You know. Focus your energy strictly on your child. You know, not be worried about what your co-parent doing when it's not your time.
Right.
And then I always put at number 5, no extracurricular activities. So if you don't plan, if you don't plan on getting back together, y'all gotta stop smashing.
No, that's real shit.
You know, so that was our 5. You had just asked something that I wanted to. We just had an episode about the things that you grew up having and the grades you didn't have when you grew up affect the parent you want to be. So that was something we actually recently talked about. Jay,
right, yeah,
I don't remember what we said. What did we say about it?
Don't put me on the spot.
No, it's okay because honestly, you see that shit when it comes to celebrating major things. You see that shit when it comes to like Christmas. You see that shit when it comes to like birthdays, anything like that. Like they feel like they gotta overcompensate because this is what I didn't get. And honestly, being as though we're sitting here with more than a dad right now, my father is one of the people that I know that like growing up. Like the way he grew up, he never had a birthday party. So for my father, when his birthday comes around, he's sledding. No, not sledding. I'm just kidding. He is out here like just having a very good time. Like he's going to book a vacation. He's going to fucking eat some good food. He's going to get some drinks. He's going to look good. He's going to smell good. He's going to feel good. He's going to be out here doing everything. You would think that a person would just go like, oh my God, go berserk because they not. No, but he really just thoroughly wants to enjoy himself. And I don't think that like sometimes when people come up that way, it's just like, well, damn, nobody celebrated me. So when I get older, I gotta overcompensate for that because I've never been just like celebrated for who I am on my special day.
And more recently, I saw the opposite. Somebody who grew up the same way, never had a birthday party, who doesn't take the initiative to celebrate themselves or anybody else who's close to them. They don't take the initiative to remember birthdays or remember important days. It happened the opposite for them.
There you go.
And I'm like, sometimes it could be taken as very careless or that you don't care, but really it's just effects from how you were brought up and how you were treated.
Damn.
But you got to think about it, it's so complicated because it's two of y'all, right? So it's your do's and your don'ts from both sides. So like what I had and what I didn't have is going to make you a parent. And then you're going to do that same thing for the lady. What she had, what she didn't have is going to make you a parent. So like my wife doesn't, like my wife always talks about like she had to make some stuff, like make accessories for her toys. So my daughter, her baby doll has every accessory. Like, you know what I'm saying? My daughter not even one. So you already are in that. Like, you know, I had to make clothes to be a princess. Right. It's a drawer in my house that's full of princess puffy dresses.
I'm with it. I'm coming over.
You know what I'm saying?
Coming over. Tea party. I'm having a tea party.
You know, so there are things, and we were talking. I think we were kind of talking about before, like vetting, like, you know, when you as a man you're looking for a wife. These are the questions that you never even ask. We think about occupation. We think about, is somebody nurturing? You don't think about, like, yo, how was you really raised? Like, did you grow up in a married household? Did you grow up seeing, like... I know you're going.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you grow up seeing your parents fight? Or did you see them making up? Was your dad loving on your mom? Like, did you see any of these things in the household? You know, as guys, we don't think about them things. She pretty. She went to college. She got a car. She got her own apartment. Yeah. That's about it, right? It don't be that much.
And it's crazy that you say that because as a female, I really sit here and I think the same exact things. Like what's going on? Like, how is he raised? I'm more so interested, nowadays, I'm more so interested to see how a guy interacts with his family. That is the number one thing. Because it tells a lot about how he will interact with you, especially how he treats his mother, especially how he treats the other women in his family, and especially if you have children, I especially pay attention to how you treat them and the relationship you have with their mother. Because let me tell you something about me and my family. It took a very long time to get where the fuck we at. And a bitch is very proud. I am happy to say I can go out with my family. We literally was at my youngest sister and my youngest brother have the same mother. My father has 5 children and 3 baby moms. I love him to death. But that's just what it is. Like, it's not to say he's bad. It's just my dad. It's just his life. It's his path. But my mom was my dad's date at my youngest sister's mother's 50th birthday party last night. And we was the fuck lit last night. And my dad and my mom was having a good time. My sister's mother and her boyfriend were having a great time. Everything was just good. But you know how long it took us to get to that point?
It's growth.
You know, like, even just thinking about the time where my dad and my mom wasn't on good terms, how my mom stepped outside of herself as a woman and said, you know what? My daughters have siblings. And as a woman who comes from a family who has, that's blended, because my mother was an adopted child, not even legally adopted, but she maxed out in foster care. And, you know, till this day, I still call that woman, that was my grandmother, no doubt. So it's just like, she wanted that close-knit thing, even if it meant that my dad wasn't even an instrument in that relationship. She was calling their mothers and saying, listen, bring your kids over for the summer. Like, I had my sister staying with me for the summer because my mom felt that strongly about the sibling bond. And you don't get that, especially today. So I cherish that because I feel like it plays a major part in how we were raised and how my mom set an example for me as a woman. Because I don't have any children, but I'd be damned if I deal with somebody that's a slacker. I want somebody that's all about their kids if they got them. You better have a good relationship with their mother or we're going to have a problem because I'm going to be talking to her at the table like, what's up? What we doing? What would they need for Christmas? What's up with school? All that shit. I ask questions. So for me, it's very important. I feel like if someone is a father, they need to take that very, very seriously. But go ahead.
Jay, talk about your co-parenting situation.
I love it. But go ahead, because I'm proud of it.
I got the other side to it.
Go ahead.
Me and my oldest son, man, we beef for a long time, like 10 years probably. Like 10 years, we just couldn't get on the same page. We couldn't communicate. Like, it was so bad. We was like communicating through emails. Like, we wasn't talking. Like, we just had, she didn't like me, and rightfully so.
Leads to shit like that.
That's what I'm
Because she
saying.
Why is it always all good while y'all fucking in the moment somebody
Because-
get pregnant?
Because
That's what scares me.
it's for one,
My uterus.
like
Serious.
it's a double it's a double thing. So like it took me this long to like realize what it was, and I kind of like snowballed them at one point. So in the beginning, I feel as though like she was just upset about like things I did to her in a relationship, cheating, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Not being honest,
Gotcha.
stuff like that. So like that rolled over into our co-parenting relationship because it's hard to communicate with a person you don't like. Like you dealing with a guy, he cheat, whatever, y'all break up, you'll never talk to him again. Now you gotta talk to me. You have to communicate with me. It's not like, oh, I just blocked him, I'm done with him, whatever. So now you gotta communicate. So we was going through that for a long time. And then like, to be honest, I was so like tunnel vision on what I was trying to do for myself that it wasn't really like, she was carrying a lot of the weight. Like I've never been absent as a dad, but I always had and I say this to Lou, like and it took me a long time to give her credit. Like I always had free reign to do what I wanted. And
freeze.
yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys feel like dads have a lot more free reign than
Yeah,
women?
absolutely.
Yeah, because it's showtime when a woman carry a baby and drop the baby. It's showtime. She got to be a mom right now.
There you go.
A dad could turn it on late, 5 years, 10 years, it'd be that. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like I had a lot more free. Like I was able to, if I was gonna get 2 jobs, I was just gonna get 2 jobs.
Okay.
If I was gonna get him twice a week and work 2 jobs or do whatever, I had free reign to do that. Whereas though like she took jobs that worked from home, or she took jobs that catered around my son's schedule. So she made money that was dictated around his time. So like it was like a different thing. So then I think for a long time I was missing that she was holding that against me. And because we were just in different spaces, like just to be honest, like when my son got here, I was 19. I was 18 when she was pregnant, so I was just out of school. Like I was fresh out of school. She was in 11th grade when he was born, like April of like 11th grade year. So she had to go through Miss Prime, go through her whole senior year. Her mom.
So you got everything.
Yeah. go to college, right? Go to college and do all of that stuff. And like I said, I still had my freedom to kind of just move around as I wanted to, even though like I was there, it wasn't there in the capacity that she was. So she would like, I know it was rubbing her the wrong way that like, oh, you could just come and do this and like, oh, you get celebrated in the same way I get celebrated, but you don't really do everything that I do. So I had to make an adjustment. I had to start to become more available. So like now, like even now today, like I work overnight. I go on to work late, work overnight. So like anytime throughout the day, if he got to get out from school early or he need a dentist appointment, doctor's appointment, whatever, I make sure he get there. So in turn, it's like, let me take some of these things off of your plate. And once I started to take those things off of her plate, our relationship opened up.
I like that point. Because I feel like in any relationship, whether it's just strictly parenting or a regular relationship, you have to be willing. There's that balance of like, all right, listen, I got to take something off your plate. You take something off mine, because one of you are going to be stronger in one area than the other. Yeah. So you got to kind of like step up to the plate when it's, all right, you know what, I'm the organized one. I'm just going to make all his appointments. But if you got more time than I do,
right,
and I know that at this time you're off work and you're going to be able to get there, then motherfucker, you need to be able to get there. Because doctor's appointments, let me keep it a bean. The kind of work I do, I'm at doctor's appointments with mothers all the time. Dad is not there. And that's just it. Even if he is home, he is not there. I would never want that for me. Ever. Because when you're growing a child, and it's a lot, it's taxing on your mind, it's taxing on your endocrine system. For those who don't know what that is, that's your hormones. And it's taxing on your, just everything. So you need that support. And it's not even, it's taxing on him too, because guess what? He got to deal with that shit if y'all together. Or if y'all not. Because you're, oh my God, this and this and that. And he's just like, oh, well shit, that's my kid in the room, so let me actually care a little bit. If he gives a fuck. Imagine those that don't. That's the reason why I'm sitting here today with no kids. Honestly. Because honestly, no, real shit. I've learned you have to have like when you're choosing a parent, you have to know that this person is really like on the same page as you. And it's not no guarantee that they are, but like you actually have the conversations. Don't be afraid to do that. I'm pushing for that because I feel like people just be like, all right, I'm gonna shoot the shit. If she get pregnant or if he do this, I'm just gonna be like, no, have the conversations.
Like,
Sorry, y'all.
How do you vet that though? Like, cause like to be honest,
Ask questions and have conversations.
I got married last year, and I've been with we got all these gems for y'all.
Come on, drop the gems. We want it, but this is again. This is me speaking from a single woman's perspective that saw her parents go through what she went through, and I'm the only sibling alive that can remember every little detail. That's just me.
I got a bomb for y'all. He got a bomb in the tuck too. So I'll go, Dre. Like my wife. I met my wife pregnant. Like my son ain't my biological son.
Got you. Okay.
Right. So I met her pregnant, and like you talk about like having conversations. Like she was trying to have these conversations with me, like, yo, a baby coming, it's cool, we kicking it, but like, you gonna be here and all that. And I was just kind of like, yeah, like, I'm not scared, because I wasn't scared. But 3 years later, it's still like, yo, I got you, you ain't gotta keep, like, I ain't going nowhere. And then I put a ring on her finger. Like, I'm trying to, like,
it's the jewelry.
I'm trying to take it out her head.
Right.
Because the thing is, when you be worried about stuff, it be like limiting like how much your output is.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm trying to give you peace of mind, like even to the day, like I got you. You know what I mean? Like you go grocery shopping, hey, I'm short a little bit, well I got you. But you know what I mean? Like that's give them that peace of mind. You know what I mean? Because that's the best thing.
Yeah.
For her is that when she start worrying, you be stressed as a man. Like if my wife's stressed, I'm gonna be stressed. Cause like Dre said, I can't deal with me. I gotta go deal with you. I gotta walk around and smile for these kids. I'm sad, but I gotta come here and play with the daughter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what it's like to be dad for real.
Damn. Let us know, Ken.
Yeah.
No, real shit. We want to know, like, cause I love my daddy so much, and I know that even though nobody's dad is perfect, like, I know that he went through shit. Like, it literally took me to I was having a conversation with my sibling, like. All of us lived in different places. Like, me and my sister was always, like, my mom moved us from North Philadelphia, once again, bitches, and to the county. So, then I had a sister was from Harrisburg. Then my youngest siblings are from Wilmington, Delaware. So, imagine your Friday night. My dad was working for Bell Atlantic. That's Verizon for you motherfuckers that don't know. That nigga got years in with that. He had years in with that company. So, this nigga was picking up overtime. Crazy. So, on a Friday night, he might be picking us up like 7, 8 o'clock. By the time he get the meal order, that's me and my mom, my sister that got the same mom. Then we gotta go up the turnpike to go get Asia now.
Wow.
Then we gotta come all the way back down to the city to go to his crib, and we get to the house like 10 o'clock at night, and it's like damn, Daddy, you spent your whole evening picking us up, and we love you. Sorry.
Just so we could all be
literally.
Drake.
Me and my siblings really had to talk about that. Like, that's real shit.
Even if we could only, even if by the time you broke it down, the time we only spent together was about 24 hours, if less than that. You did all of that just so we could spend the time being with together and with you.
Mm-hmm.
Dre, talk to them about, you were saying how the moms got along. Dre in the situation where the dads get along.
Come on now.
I love that.
Oh, we ain't never heard of that. We ain't never heard of that.
I don't know what I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm toxic, but I love guys getting together and being able to be with a chick just to get along. Like I'm here for it.
So
they had the bombs for you.
Right, yeah, that's a fact. So
drop bombs on these niggas' markets.
So my daughter that's essentially my stepdaughter, but that's my daughter. Cause I've been in her life since she was 2 years old.
That's my sister. That's my youngest sister.
Right. So you know, like her dad and her mom was beefing. They was in the same thing like I kind of was in.
Okay.
But in the middle of this, like I'm still at odds with my oldest son mom. We still beefing. So I'm seeing them from being on the inside. I'm seeing them, bumping heads over stupid stuff, over stuff that you probably shouldn't be bumping heads. Like I could see like what he trying to do, and I could see where like y'all missing the mark on because I've been there. Like you could go into a situation with perfectly good intentions and end up with a bad result.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put myself in a position to be like, man, I'm gonna have a conversation with dude just to see if I could like be a bridge or be a liaison. Like a lot of people take the stance like, and this is the ego thing. Like you got a woman and you don't want another man to be like close to that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like some dudes relish in the idea that shorty don't get along with her baby dad because then it's like, oh, that's no competition. Mm-hmm. A lot of it be like insecurity, so you don't really be wanting the two parties to get along. But like at the end of the day, it really like affect the kid. So like what they was going through was like hindering his ability to be a dad. Because a lot of times, like if somebody's making it difficult on you, like you'll just not come around, like because you don't want to deal with it.
Right.
So
That's
like
me.
if you say and then so say you like make a promise to do something, you don't follow through on it, you don't have it. Instead of just being like I don't have it, you'll just not show up.
Mm-hmm.
So like those things were like happening. So it was just like, man, let's have a we ended up starting because like we had gotten to like a back and forth. He had like they was going back and forth about something. He had like disrespected her. So she called me. Naturally, you call me, I'm gonna call him. You know, because we gotta check a situation. Like at the end of the day, so like now we yelling back and forth. It's on the phone, so it ain't going nowhere. But like I'm kind of getting my point across. Like, yo, this my lady. I don't really care if that shit baby mom. You can't disrespect it.
And that's
because at the
period.
end of the day, it trumps how you feel. Like at the end of the day, like I feel like if that's your woman, another man not going. I don't care if it's your dad, your brother. I don't care who it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you with me, you can't disrespect it. Like it just it's not cool. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
real nigga shit.
Any real nigga.
so we end up having that, and then like in the midst of the conversation of yelling, like I'm a real analytical person. So like I start to hear like what he's saying. So I'm like, man, y'all really having like small issues. So I had to just explain to him like, yo, I'm not your enemy. I'm not against you. I'm in the house with her every day. I know what she's complaining about. I know what's wrong. Like I know what her issue is with you. If you do X, Y, and Z, that would be cool. Y'all won't have an issue. And like it was to a point in time like they wasn't talking, and she'd be like, well, if you want to get your daughter, like you gotta talk to Dre. He ain't want to do it. Like why I ain't got a kid with Dre. Why I gotta talk to Dre? But even me, I was like, man, if that's what it's gonna take, like you call my phone, like yo, I'll have her ready. And when you bring her back, call me, I'll come out and get her. And it's that simple because at the end of the day, it's not about me.
It's not.
It's about her.
Yes,
She
absolutely.
want to see her dad. She want to be around her dad. What y'all got going on? It's not it. It's not worth
irrelevant.
it.
So what
like,
she needs.
right. So we end up like we done been on family vacations together.
Mm.
I love
Like
that.
all of us, his other baby moms, his other kids,
I
like
love that.
a bunch of stuff. Like my kids, like it's just.
I want to see
that's-
more of that.
I just spoke with, and
I
it's
love
so
that.
random, but I
that.
legit just spoke with a mother
love
that I
that.
never met. She was a friend
You gotta be
of,
the fucking
my sister's
token
mom.
dad for shit like that.
and
Real
she
shit.
did, and she was saying literally
Just
that
put on a
her
Mickey
and the
Mouse
dad,
costume and just go ahead. I bet you everybody flocked the fuck to you.
yeah, her and the dad didn't get along. Her and the other mom and the dad didn't get along. They didn't get along with the dad at all. The dad was just like, oh, fuck you. And they basically built a friendship. They are close
love
friends.
that.
And their daughters are 8 years apart.
I love that.
You would never hear of that. I was looking at her like, yo, how? And I had to ask her story. And she sat there and literally told me the whole thing. I said,
I'm
damn.
so sick of hearing about these bitter ass stories. While
Absolutely.
I love that you
You
told
can't
her that
still
you
be in
stepped
love.
up and stepped
Right,
You
in.
can't still be in love.
Yeah.
You can't still be in love. Y'all can't still be messing around and like you pop up with somebody else.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
can't
no
be about
way.
y'all. It's about the children.
Mm-hmm. I like
Yeah,
that,
like
though.
and in the end, like at the end, just like you was talking about your mom and the situation with your sister.
Absolutely.
Because I had a conversation with her not too long ago, and I was like, man, regardless of like whether I'm with her mom or not, we still had to have a semblance of a relationship because our kids are siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, anything happened to her, we don't deal with each other. Our kids is still brother and sister, so they gotta see each other. So we gotta have some sort of a
Rapport.
relationship. Like that's one of the big things I worry about because like my two baby moms, they don't get along. They don't talk at all. They have no relationships. So like, and this another thing as a man when stuff be on you. Like, if something happened to me, I don't know if my kids ever talk. See each other.
Crazy.
Like I'm not 100% certain. I can't sit here with 100% certainty and tell you them two girls will put it to the side.
That's heavy, King. That's real
Like I
heavy.
don't know.
And a lot of men don't
So
think
it's
about
like
that.
I gotta move in a different way where it's like.
Mm.
Like I be even telling like like I be out here seeing stuff happen, like I get up out of situations fast.
Mhm.
Like soon as I see like it look funny, I get up out of situations fast because
You gotta live.
God forbid something happen to me, it's over. Because I'm the only thing tying this thing together, holding this together. You know what I'm saying? Because like that's really a thing. Like even like to this day, like when my kid, like my son, my oldest son would see my mom, my dad, that's on my accord. It's not because his mom is taking him over there and something like that. So like I'm the link.
blessed.
I'm the link to all of it, and that's
I'm so
the
blessed.
pressure.
I am blessed.
Yeah.
Let me just sit here and say I am so blessed.
And I think we're
because
one of the
I
last
don't know
generations
another
that are
person.
blessed in situations
Yes,
like that.
my mother had a very short.
Generation-wise.
Even with my father's grandmother, my mother she talked to her about shit she would never say to anyone else in our family. And this my mother she was talking to. That she knows shit about my family that I don't even know. Because it's my mother and she had that relationship with my great-grandmother. No one will ever understand that, but they had the bond that they had because she took the time to figure out who my great-grandmother was. And my great-grandmother saw what a good woman she realized who her great-grandson was dealing with. Her grandson was dealing with. Because that's my great-grandmother. She realized who he had in front of him and says, you know what, this is a good woman. Let me come over here real quick and see what she's talking about so I can let her know what our family really is about. Yeah. Because you're not one of those chicks in the street that's just like, oh, I want to be problematic and this and this and that. No, you are a woman with a head on your shoulders, man.
Right.
Let me respect that. Let me honor that. Let me acknowledge that as a woman first. And I don't think a lot of women even get that heads up. Yeah. Like, is that an issue? I feel like we do face it as an issue in the community. Like, you got people who family members will like sit there like it's niggas out here to this day they mama lie for them, you know, ride or die for them.
And that's one of the most pressing ongoing issues when it comes to just relationship factors, period, when it comes to non-platonic relationships. Mm-hmm. You have these, mother-son relationships or father-daughters or these toxic relationships between parents and children, all these different dynamics of relationships that are factors into why we become the adults we are and why we communicate the way that we do or the lack of communication
or lack thereof.
Like that's where it all comes from. So that's why that change is never inevitable. People just don't know what they don't know. You have to take the initiative as an adult to say, okay, I may not have learned this or this may not have been an example put in front of me, but if this is what you want, you got to take the initiative to go out there and just go get it.
Like Marcus said, he never was directly taught what to look for. Remember last week when we were talking about that meme that said, I don't even know if black men from, the time that they're in this world, like, are taught necessarily how to scout for a good woman or what to look for in a woman or what to even, like, relish, like, oh my God, like, that's the one I want. They don't know that because they aren't taught that. And we asked you, is this meme true? Like, is this something that you've experienced? Is this something that you can say that, is true to what you've lived in life? And you were like, yo, honestly, I don't think I never had like nobody say like directly like this is what you look for and this is what you avoid. It was more so what you saw and what resonated with you is what I took from that personally.
Yeah, what you related with.
It's funny.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
Go ahead.
Because
it's so good. It's so good.
You know what it is though? A lot like you had referenced like moms lying for their sons or doing certain stuff. It's bitter. It's bitter energy. Like
from
it's
their past experiences.
Right, because like I keep it at being like I've experienced it.
Damn you, Summer Walkers.
I've experienced it with my own mom in certain situations. So like when
talk about it, King.
Like so I've been on child support for my oldest son since he was 6. It wasn't even like I wasn't taking care of him. It just we was beefing, whatever. But I've always done more. So like I've been on child support. And I do outside, like if she says she needs something extra, whatever, because I know everything don't cover everything. Right. So some come up.
Highlight, say it again. For the bum niggas in the back.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Yeah. It don't cover everything. Like my son got Catholic school tuition.
And $160 a week don't count for shit.
Yeah, he got Catholic school tuition and all of that stuff.
Education.
Yeah, you got to. But I was having a conversation with my mom about it one day, probably just out of frustration, and she just was like, man, I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you give her extra outside the child support. Mind you, you're a woman.
Lawyer. You know who's supposed to tell you that? A lawyer. But go ahead.
But you're a woman. And I had to realize, like, oh, you feel that way because you didn't have that type of support with your kids. So now you, like, passing it off like, well, she should just be able to figure it out on her own. Not saying to me, like, yo, what you doing is the right thing. You actually carrying it how you're supposed to be carrying it. She more so of the stance of, well, why is she getting all that? Her bitter energy that she had because of how she was getting help in her life, she tried to instill that into me. Like she tried to put that in me like you shouldn't be doing that.
And can I say that? And I will say just from one angle, because I've dealt with men, I've been in relationships with men who had to do this exact same thing. And I being coming from married parents, I also came from married and divorced parents who my father had to end up got locked up twice and had to pay child support. Got locked up twice over child support.
Mine was once.
Let's be very clear. My dad was arrested twice in his life and both over me.
Wasn't even a decision.
Right. Let's be very clear. But I will say, just to add to that, you have those women who just be like, that's all they want. Like, because I'm the woman who will say that. Like, well, if she chose, keyword, if she chose to take you to child support because she was either under the impression that she was going to get more, or she just didn't have enough knowledge. She was ignorant to the fact that she wasn't going to get more. If that's what she wanted to do, by law, that's all you're required to give.
It is.
I'm not mad at. Hold on. I'm the woman that, and this might sound fucked up, because I'm gonna just go ahead and prelude with saying that it might sound fucked up. I'm not mad at you if you don't do more than what the law requires. If you in that situation,
I am, because I want to tell you something. Because a mother exceeds her fucking salary every fucking day. Let me tell you something about what my mother did
you
for me,
that
bitch.
same mother that pressed for that shit.
No. She never went for an increase, none of that shit.
My mom didn't either, but I said if you were the mother that pressed for that shit, oh, I want child support because I don't want to fucking be with you and da 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 da. Well, you asked to just get this little bit ass percentage of money.
But in the reality is not true, because if you ever read it, if you ever read a child support order, that child support number is the base child support. That's base. Activity.
Off of what though?
But no.
Off of fucking what? Because if you want to be serious,
right.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Because cost of living is higher than a motherfucker right now.
Yeah,
We talking about
22.
$2 racks for rent on average.
And
you talking about groceries?
Absolutely.
I'm a bitch who shop at least 3 times a week to put food in my household because my produce goes bad very fast. I buy a small amount so I can make everything and eat it and it won't go bad because I don't like to waste food. So that's for me. These motherfucking plants and shit we got out here do not last long. Let me just tell y'all bitches, go a couple times a week, you gonna get your shit fresh. Anyway, so for that, I'm spending in the average in the market like at least $200 a week. At least. I gotta feed me and my partner. You know what I'm saying? That nigga eat like it's 6 kids.
Got a roommate like that.
Gotta make a whole chicken, bitch.
But that's why for me,
a whole pot.
I'm ignorant. I am ignorant, and I am biased. My perspective that I just spoke on is only towards women who intentionally just want to push towards the court factor and bringing the court factor into it.
I agree.
Those are the only women that I am speaking towards.
I agree 1,000%.
They are the only women that I'm speaking towards.
But this is my whole thing with the child support. I be trying to break it down. Everybody got issues with child support. I've been on child support so long, it don't affect me. It don't affect the way I live. It's another thing.
It's like health insurance.
Right, that's a fact. But the reality of it is this. It's easier for me because let's just take it out of my hands. So like, say I'm working, whatever. You gotta come to me and ask, oh, he needs sneakers. He needs this, he needs that. I'm gonna get around and get it to you when I get it to you. He might need it today. I might say, oh, I'll get it to you next week. If I'm on child support, it takes that out of my hand.
Right,
you got the money, you go ahead, you do what you want with it. You don't gotta say nothing else to me. Right, and it just makes it simpler because you know how it is. Like you might.
It takes out the means of communication.
Right. It's smart. But it's the same.
It's already written.
It's the same thing when you're in a relationship. Me and Lou talk about it. I pay all the bills. If you pay all the bills, I pay all the bills. Bang. I'm budgeting my money like this. Bang. All right. I might have $200 left over until next time I get paid. Cool. You come with an unexpected expense. We need such and such. Now I'm going through a mental disaster because I didn't plan for that.
I'm a resourceful bitch. I don't got time for that.
So now
you finna have some toothpaste.
So now you listen. But now you having a baby mom. She don't live with me. He don't live with me. I don't know what's running out at your house. So you might call me on a Tuesday. I need such and such. I don't get paid till Friday. And now when I tell you I don't got it, you got attitude. You got an attitude.
But see, can I be on the side of the man in this point? Because I feel like as a woman, you gotta know. Like, I'm not finna ask you for toothpaste on Tuesday when I know by Wednesday we gonna be run out. Maybe I'm gonna say something to you that Wednesday before because okay, the tea was getting low. I ain't got no extra funds.
You forward thinking.
I am very forward thinking because you wanna know why? Exactly. Because I had a mother who had to go through that shit.
Right. You and I did, but let's be clear. The baby moms and the generation that most of our friends are dealing with, these ain't them bitches.
My mom knew how to go get it too. Sorry.
Our mom, let's honor. Our moms
Were
did
different.
it. But
Yes.
unfortunately, our peers and the women that we are on the same generation
Level
with,
they don't always have
that
that.
their
don't
have
always have-
friends
you right.
and wives and girlfriends and baby moms up them bitches. And y'all bitches, y'all didn't do that shit, okay?
Yeah.
And y'all bitches is ignorant. Y'all ignorant.
It's different.
Because again, I came from a high school sweetheart, married, then divorced, parent household.
My parents were the same thing except for they never got married. My mother knew my father since she was 9 years old and had a crush on that nigga since she was 9. My father was 12 years
You
old.
bitches.
My mother was born in 60 of September. My father was born in, I'm backwards. My mother was born in 63 of September. My father was born in 60 of August. These niggas
But
grew
your
up
parents
around the
grew
corner
up
from each
together.
other. They went to Kenderton Elementary School. My dad went to Central, my mom went to Grants. They are North Philadelphia natives. Okay, they grew up around the corner from each other. My dad was on Toronto, my mom was on Sydenham.
Come
right
on,
there.
North Philly.
Right there. It's North Philly for you to the fucking fullest. So it's just like, yo,
You
we
grew up
come
at
from the
Kelly's
same
Cray
hood.
Cray.
We have the same stock. Like, let's really get this shit in order. Like, they agree. Like, and even when you hear both of them talk, it's just like, yo, nigga, where is everybody at with this shit? Like, why did it take us so long to get here? I really, truthfully, am wholeheartedly cherishing the relationship that my parents have right now. It took us a long ass time to get here. And I wish this for everybody. Like, I'm ready to cry because it's like, yo, my parents have come a long fucking way, bro. Seriously, like, crying, holidays, fights, money
separate
missing,
holidays,
money
separate
gained.
siblings, not
My mom
family.
buying gifts for kids that ain't hers. My dad doing the same thing. Parents not getting along, but my mother always felt like, listen, these is my kids' siblings. There's nothing I can do about it. Whether I created them or not, they gotta be together because when we leave here, they all they got. Being as though my mother comes from a family like this that's not close knit. My mother was, once again, maxed out foster care. I don't know where the fuck I come from. That in itself hits me at a deeper level than most motherfuckers. I feel like that has a lot of reason why I'm not so quick to be like, cause where am I tell my kids they come from?
Right.
You.
Right.
You.
And that's it.
When you don't know a whole lot about yourself, what you want to do?
I just watched a 60-minute special on a motherfucker that bought a house that their fucking slave ancestors lived on and got beat for years and were buried in the fucking backyard. And they had no idea. And one of the family members worked with the motherfucker that told him, potentially you are from my fucking ancestors and your ancestors lived on their plantation. And it was the fucking truth. And I will send you the link after this. Cause the shit blew my fucking mind. I watched that shit on Friday after work and that shit blew my fucking mind, yo. It blew my mind. And the only reason why it resonated so crazy with me is because my mom comes from the South. We don't know how she came from Norfolk to Philly, but she here. And that's it. She got a twin brother. And my grandmother said, I ain't getting one without the other. So y'all gonna be both twins or y'all gonna get the fuck out my face. So all my mom got is her twin brother. Sorry, but let's go. Let's go. That's heavy, right?
I mean, when you're
Sorry,
talking
that's
about
heavy, that's heavy.
family dynamics and siblingship and being a parent and knowing where you come from and knowing what information to pass down, all of this shit is essential. Like, just like how she said her parents came, my dad was adopted too.
Yep.
My dad just met his biological mom last year.
Sorry, y'all.
My dad is 55 years old.
Yep. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's,
My
I
dad
think
always
it affects
knew he
men
was
differently.
adopted. My dad was adopted since birth.
How do you feel
birth.
about that?
Different. They feel different.
Yeah,
You have to
it's a
talk
happy
with them.
medium. He doesn't regret his adoptive parents. He loves his adoptive parents. Like my dad and his adoptive dad, my grandpa who I call my grandpa was like this. His biological father, his mother is not even sure if that was him or if it was possibly somebody else.
Gotcha.
Because of her dealings in being so young at that time.
Gotcha.
But as a child of his, now mind you, up until last year, my brother and I were the only biological family that my dad knew.
That's how me and my sister Autumn are. Besides my mom's twin
So,
brother,
it's
we are
like-
our only biological.
He doesn't have any, of course he don't have any resentment towards us, but of course when he met his mom, it's like, yeah, I'm not really sure. Or if, he was this person, but kind of giving the story, she not really sure too. So it is what it is, but my dad not gonna change.
Yeah, like that's
Right.
crazy.
My dad is who he is. Who raised him is who raised him.
Family is really
And
deeper
we
than the blood
really,
that
and
you have.
honestly,
Exactly.
we had that talk together.
Related to that I don't give a fuck about.
That's real shit.
Let's be clear.
They don't give a fuck
I
about
don't
you
even
neither.
know.
That's the crazy. That's
And
not,
my rich dollars was neither.
neither. You see me as neither.
The fuck? And again, this is just, again, we have conversations here on this platform about real life shit. We're not embarrassed.
None
We're
of that
not
shit.
shamed.
First of all, when me and her both found out, we both had a
expressed.
parent that were in the system. Both of my parents were in the system. The difference between my mother, and my father is my father knew his real family and had a chance to meet them, and we grew up knowing who they were. My mother, no. So it's just like both of them, I understood where both of their hurts came from. So me as a person looking at what they went through when they were my age and still dealing with shit from childhood, it makes sense.
And they just happened to
makes
be
sense.
blessed that they had children that became social workers to understand the dynamic that they
And she
came
looks
from.
at me and she
we know the
relishes.
social worker system. We know the adoptive system, the foster care system.
Yep.
I worked for the Philadelphia foster care system and adoption for 4.5 years. So my dad realized that it was just like, yo, see what you can find out.
About me.
Yeah.
Right. And when I started looking, niggas start shutting up. Because apparently, my last name is not common. So when you see Cromwell, it's just like, who the fuck are you? Apparently, a lot of us are in South Philadelphia. I've never, my first day of work, somebody was like, do you know this person? I'm like, nah.
Do you know any Lomaxes in South Philly?
I don't know.
I
I don't know. My dad is this person, my mom is this person. I'm just here. But people, like, you just don't know. Like, you don't know what affects the person. So it's just like when you're,
Right, what
like,
affects
it's
their
just
life.
crazy. Sorry.
Nah, you good.
And we
Sorry.
apologize that we got sidetracked, but it kind of all went, hand in hand when it comes to life, livelihood, that whole trust factor, being a parent, knowing the information that kind of comes to biologically, or socially or whatever. It is what it is. So again, I appreciate you guys' stories and
I want to ask one more. I want to ask another question
to
too.
the rest.
So, I have this meme here, and I hate this picture, but I have to show it to you guys because it means a lot to what this conversation is about. So this is the picture, and I fucking hate it because I feel like no one should ever pose for a picture like this. What is that? I would never have my child standing in between me doing that. As a non-mother.
Look at that.
As a professional godmother.
Describe the picture to the
So the picture to the audience, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. It's a mother and a father. They are both of color. They are black people. They are young. They're probably around our age. They have a daughter that's probably between the ages of 6 and 8. I'm going to guess. I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to say 5 and 8. 5 and 8. And their shirts read, the mother says, I hate him with an arrow pointing to the dad. The dad says, I hate her with an arrow pointing to the mom. And the daughter's in between holding both of their hands while they're looking at each other looking fucking stupid as shit, saying, yeah.
But they do it for me.
But they do it for me with a fucking smiley face. And what does that mean to you out there? What does that mean to you? Because me personally, I would never put my child in that predicament. I think the picture is disgusting.
Yeah.
I think it is very, very vile. I think that it does nothing for the co-parenting culture that we have these days because people can't get the fuck along as it is. And co-parenting is a thing that we need to fucking get together. That's why we have these gentlemen here today because we want to know what can we add to the conversation from a man's perspective. Because women have a lot of say-so too. And we do hear from a lot of men, but we want to know specifically from men who are involved in their children's lives what they feel like would be beneficial to the relationship and what they feel like will make it be more positive. Because this photo shoot ain't it. Whatever you thought you were doing for your daughter, you fucking fucked it up. Thank you.
Don't say you hate each other, but we're gonna sit here and hold hands and take a picture.
Yeah, hate is such a strong term.
My thing is,
confusing.
My whole thing is like, how do you think that's helping? Like the emotion that y'all go through, whatever didn't work or did work, like why she gotta feel that? And why she gotta be aware of that at such a young age? It just does nothing for her as a kid. Like my thing is, like we was talking about on our show, letting our kids be kids for as long as possible.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like why do she gotta know? Oh yeah, my mom and dad hate each other. Like that comes up in class. That come up in school. Like she start doing a project. Let's do a family tree. Well, daddy not gonna want to talk to mommy. Like, you know what I mean? Like we talking. You know what I'm saying?
It's sad though. Yeah, you're right though, Lou.
Yeah, like Lou was saying, like, it's just certain things you just don't need to expose your kids to. Like, whatever we go through is what we go through. Whatever disagreements we got through, you got to have a unified front because, like, that's another thing just to double back to the conversation we was having about like the dynamic between like me and my stepdaughter's dad, because like if you see that growing up, then you start to normalize it. Like, oh, that's normal. What happens is you think of baby mom, baby dad, you see beef. That's what you think of, because that's what everybody programmed you to think. Like, oh, if I got a baby mom, I got a beef with her.
Here go mine last night.
Yeah.
Lit as shit. Sorry, y'all. My parents lit. I don't know about
like
y'all.
If I got a baby dad, I got a beef with him, because that's what people are promoting. So when you're doing stuff like that, you making it normal to be like, mommy hate daddy. Then that becomes a normal thing. So it's like, dad, if I grow up and I have a kid, like I'm probably supposed to hate them, but we gonna get along even though I hate them. No, you probably shouldn't hate them. You probably should find a way to make it work where you don't pass down trauma. And we talk about that too all the time on our show. Like, people pass down trauma all the time.
All the time. It's so sickening. Thank you for talking about. We appreciate that conversation. Can you please continue to have more conversation, especially when it comes to men, because it's just like, god damn. Like, really, what do we have? I feel like sometimes it be to the point where it's like, men, like, what do y'all really got to look forward to, because y'all got so much pressure. Like when Lou was saying in the beginning, like, I gotta make a decision about where my kids gonna go to school. I think about that as a woman, so I can only imagine what a man thinking about. I ain't even got no kids, but it's just like when you buy a house, they automatically ask you, oh, school districts, oh, transportation, oh, this property value, and this and that, and it's just like, bitch, my uterus is chilling. Oh God. So I just
this accent crazy.
Yeah, it is. So I'll just be like, yo, like what's really good? Like, I can only imagine how that is for a man. So I really, honestly, for me personally, I don't know if I don't want to seem like I'm like, oh, a yes woman or like a pick me, but like when it comes to men, I really take into account what they have to go through, and I try to be as open as possible when I have discussions with them. I'm not perfect, but I ask questions, and I ask them to be honest with me, because it's just like, if you're not honest with me, I can't know where you are mentally.
Right.
And we are two humans trying to figure this shit out. I value your thought process. I value your experience, and I value your opinion. Can you let me know? Because if you don't tell me anything, I don't got shit to go off of. I'm just going to assume from a bitch's point of view. And that's just it. You can't get mad after that. Because if I asked you, I motherfucking asked you. And that's just it. Your window has closed, bitch. It is 12 o'clock and the window is closed. The door is closed. The door is closing. In my elbow. It was only right to do it because he was sitting to my right. Door closing. But real shit, like, I'm so glad to have y'all. Like, I'm so elated right now. I'm like jumping in my chair. Like, I just.
Shit.
What else can we add to this conversation?
We appreciate y'all.
I'm excited. Let's just go ahead and end it out very casually.
No, wait.
The last postpartum.
I gotta get to that.
Please read off that before we get.
Can I read you something? Because I need to have your because, and I'm gonna start off by saying, audience, we respect any woman who has ever, even if you did not carry to full term, conceived a child.
Now, mind you,
it is a blessing.
Audience, we have read off this dynamic before, but we debated it just upon women. And we told y'all we wanted to wait until we had men on the show
to get their point of view,
because we discussed just a very short time ago. So we will proceed with this again now that we have you guys, especially as fathers, and that good representation that we want and need.
Because me personally, I'm just gonna have a moment of transparency. This is one of my biggest fears and why I have never had a child. So I'm just gonna say that, because I watched my mom go from being 118 pounds before she had. My mom's still taller than me. I'm a grown ass woman. She's 5'8", I'm 5'6". Just to say that. So when she had my sister, she was a little bit heavier. Shit got real. Yeah. So no, really having a baby changes your body, changes your. My mom was a singer. She made her from second soprano to alto.
My mom said that.
Exactly. It's a lot. So I want to hear men's perspective on postpartum depression. I do not know if you were present for your partner's entire pregnancy. I don't know if you went to every single doctor's appointment. That is a requirement of mine. If I ever have anyone's kid, you will die if you do not come. Thank you.
Unless it's COVID.
No.
Fuck COVID. This is why I ain't having none. You ain't gonna get me no.
You still. I'm gonna kill you for COVID.
They didn't let me in.
Now they didn't let me in.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I know they don't.
No, you were expected to have a baby on your own. And honestly, because I work with women who are pregnant up until their child is 3 years old, that is my profession. I felt for those women, and I had conversations with them. It was nothing like before the pandemic.
Bro,
so
watching the ultrasound over FaceTime is the goofiest shit ever.
Oh wow!
That's crazy.
Yeah. Watching the ultrasound.
I wouldn't want that. I'd have been mad as shit in there pulling
in the
down.
car, in the parking lot, and she.
At least she was in the parking lot. You wasn't at home. But it's still far, though.
That's so impersonal.
You want to see your baby.
It was impersonal.
You got to think about it. She carried Mandy. She carried Mandy by herself, in that situation. And I met her towards the end of that pregnancy. I was there for his birth. But with Osa, like that whole pregnancy, I was excited as a father to be like, I'm gonna go to your doctor's appointments, and then we in the middle of COVID. It's like, oh yeah, we're not letting nobody besides the patient in. Even I had a hard time even getting upstairs for my daughter's birth.
Look at my face.
No, I'm being that serious.
The line of, let me explain to you. I'm not going to get into detail, but the line of work I work in, I work with mothers from the time that they're pregnant to the child, to the time that the child is 3 years old. I get you prepared for preschool. So my thing is like, even with childbirth, I've had women call me in the middle of the night, like, listen, I had a client. My baby dad, a truck driver, bitch, and they not listening to what I got to say. I'm about to fuck all these nurses up. If you don't come up here, I'm gonna beat all these bitches up. I'm like, whoa, hold up,
Christy, I'm on my way to work right now.
Bitch, I might need you to pull up, cause hold up, bitch, hold up.
I'm over here with the adults. You over here with the kids. Hold on, I gotta come over there.
All my bitches is in the field, so we bounce off of each other. Like, you got this resource, I got this resource. But like, I really felt where she was coming from because we were the same age, and this wasn't her first child, but it was just like, her baby dad not there completely because he can't help it. He literally has to be in the trucks driving for hours. He can't just get out and say, all right, I'm gonna come home. So she was like, damn, this is our first kid together. I'm panicking. She like, I got 2 other kids, but like, oh my God, like he's not here. They're not listening to me. She just didn't feel respected as an individual. So for me personally, it's just like, damn, what does a dad feel when a woman goes through childbirth? Like, honestly. And I want to read this from the bottom of my heart because, like I say, I'm going to preface this with I don't know how it feels to be. I've never conceived a day in my life. I'm going to be honest. I'm not lying to y'all. I have never been pregnant in my life. So from the time that you conceive, I want you women to know, your body takes a whole year to heal. Even if you do not go to term. Take your shit seriously, woman. Thank you. To the end.
And I'm going to just say real fast before that, that's why I'm fucking scared of that shit. I'm scared of pregnancy.
Me too.
I'm brings out different sides of you didn't know you had. I'm scared of physical pregnancy, like literally. All that shit that y'all say, some of y'all say, oh, it's not nothing. Some of y'all say, oh, it's fucking hell. I'm scared of that shit.
You don't have no control over what's going to happen.
Oh, exactly.
You don't.
That shit is scary, bitch.
So the way Terrence Banks describes it, I'm going to read this whole paragraph, and God, please keep me. We are a couple minutes over time, but we'll be fine. So, to be honest, it's like watching the person that gave your child life drown and you can't do anything to help. You really take it personal. Like you aren't doing enough to help as a man, but make her feel as beautiful or as one as she should. But what I've learned is that there's a lot of reassurance that is very necessary. We have to be their main line of support. She's going to be tired. She's going to be irritable. She's going to be frustrated. But you have to constantly be the one there for her to vent, cry, and sometimes scream at, even when you don't deserve it. You ever seen the process of breastfeeding? I'm gonna just leave that. I'm gonna let y'all marinate on that. She gave your child life, so the least thing that you can do is be everything that she needs you to be as she finds her way back to happiness within herself as a woman. That means limiting her stress, saying sorry even when you don't do anything wrong, rubbing her feet, rubbing her back, holding her, even when she says she does not want to be held. And a huge part of that is letting her know that from the appearance of her body, she's not unattractive. Making her feel like she's more than what she feels like she sees in the mirror, just to give you our perspective. From those stretch marks and extra weight came a beautiful blessing, and you should be grateful she sacrificed her body to nurture that. That's just my 2 cents, though. And that's how Terrence Banks left us on that note. And I respect the man for even putting this paragraph on social media for people to say. I want both of y'all. If y'all have, no, let me just stop y'all. I don't care what your experience is. Men need to hear how y'all feel and what y'all saw and what y'all went through and what you can say now on the other side of the game. Because honestly, postpartum depression is nothing to laugh at, it's nothing to joke with, and it is fucking serious. Because after 2 weeks, baby blues is 2 weeks, but anything beyond 2 weeks is fucking PPD. I'm gonna put you, that's my factual statement. So go ahead.
All right, so like growing up, I never heard of postpartum depression.
Okay.
Right? And even like having conversations with older guys now, they don't even like we talked to one of my old heads, he like 56 years old. He think it's like fake. He don't think it's real. He think it's like an excuse or a crutch. But I had to learn. I was learning on the fly. You know, I met my wife. She was pregnant. Baby came really soon after I met her, and I didn't handle it right. Like I argued with her. I wasn't there, like in terms of like I was there because my whole thing was I seen enough single moms that like I was gonna be an outstanding dad. I was gonna be more than a dad. Right. I was gonna be more than a dad.
We love it though.
You know, so I was doing everything, and she was like unhappy and all these things, and I'm like, then you got me though. You know what I mean? Like I'm holding it down. Like we in this. You know, that's like my energy, right? And it was like that's not what was going on. She had postpartum depression, and like one of the things that kind of took it off for me was like every time I would go to her apartment, I would walk through the door. I'm not even didn't take my shoes off yet. She'd be like, huh? She'd be handing me the baby every time. Every single time, like thank God you came. And it's like she had like this anxiety about having a baby, holding the baby. I'm like, that ain't normal. Like, what is that?
I'm gonna stop you right there. People tell you that your kid can be spoiled. No such thing. Children need skin-to-skin contact. They need bonding. And she also felt like he or she needed that male skin-to-skin contact. Because I tell fathers, just as important as it is for mothers when they are breastfeeding to have that skin-to-skin, it's important for the father. They know your voice, they can smell you, and they can look at you and see that their vision isn't good, but they know who you are by your voice and your smell. So that was important. So that's why she was doing that. But go ahead.
But it was so much more than that. Like, and that's
Very.
And this is how I built this connection with this biological kid. That
Come on now. Teach us something.
At some point or another, she was disconnected from the baby. Boy was wherever Boy was at, and it was me and my son. And that's how we strengthened that relationship. But like, I handled it poorly because I couldn't. Like, I got us. I'm here. Like, how you feeling like this? Like, what you need? Like, and I'm like, I'm not like trying to make you my enemy. I'm just didn't understand. So second time around with my daughter, it's like, all right, I'm aware that you can slip into this, and we handled it much better. I think she had like she breastfed the second time more on consistent. Like my daughter still breastfed to the day.
How old is she?
She about to be 1 on Wednesday.
Oh my God!
So
she a trooper.
Yeah.
Let me just say that your wife. Shout out to wifey. Shout out to wifey because she breastfeed like a mug. Go ahead, wifey.
She's a beast.
My titties hurt just hearing it.
My areolas is sore.
Relax.
Sorry. It hurts though.
But real shit.
They don't tell you that it hurts, but it hurts. But go ahead. It hurts. Know that she's biting. Go ahead.
She got teeth, so I know.
Yeah, cheeseburgers and pizzas, nigga.
Yeah. But you know, like one thing.
Bitch was eating pork ribs by one.
I was a little bit more educated the second time around. I was a little bit more understanding to be like, oh, let me take this off for you. Like it was a point in time. She was like, I feel like I'm like, and you're gonna get small tips as a guy. She like, I feel like I'm working a 24-hour shift. I asked her what that meant one time, and then I just started taking things from her. She was like, I feel like I work. I come home, they work, and then I'm, sleeping with the baby, breastfeeding throughout the night. She said, I feel like I work 24 hours.
That's real shit.
Right.
And then I started to be like, well, she gonna sleep with me. We're gonna have to cut baby off of drinking during the night, but she'll sleep. I'll get up with her. I'll sleep. You know what I mean? I'll take the baby for the night shift for you. So now we on the same playing field. But I had to learn these things. It don't make sense. As a guy, you don't know what you're watching. You have no idea.
Got that shit.
Bro, you have no idea what you're watching, and it can be so extreme. And I think it's extreme to hear like, oh yeah, this mom killed the baby, she killed the baby. Them things like real thoughts.
Yeah,
like they real thoughts.
Yeah.
And like one thing that I remember when my wife did she came home with my daughter, she was like, damn, I really got 2 kids. This is what I'm talking about, these little small like that meant the world to her for even to say. She's like, damn, I really got 2 kids.
Right.
My cousin just posted that status 2 days ago. Somebody came up to her, and she's a school teacher. And she just had, her baby is I want to say my little cousin is over 6 months at this point. And she said, damn. Somebody came up to me and said, hey, mommy. And so she said, oh, shit. I looked at myself in the mirror like, damn, I am a mama too. You right. Yeah. I respect your perspective because not a lot of men take that into account. They don't. Either they don't care or they just don't know. The sacrifice physically and mentally is real. It's beyond what your sperm and your penis can do.
And
our bodies grow a human.
Reason why we're womanly reason why, because we know that the average man doesn't think like that. I'm not about to just be sitting around putting myself in a fucking predicament to do this, not knowing how the fuck the man gonna feel about it.
Yeah,
but
I need to know that he's confident in the fact that he wants to be a good dad.
But it's even more than that. It's like, it's not like her having postpartum depression has nothing to do with what you doing or not.
Fuck no! Oh no, yeah, that's 1,000% true.
And the sad thing is, that's what I thought. Like, I grew up around enough single moms, and I thought like my participation was like, you was gonna never go into that because I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that's for women who ain't got somebody here. And I'm here with you every day, and you still ended up like that. Oh yeah, that's like beyond me.
And to be honest, I think God made it like that for a reason. Whether you believe him or not, I feel like God made it like that for a reason because he wanted men to understand that this shit is not a game. Just because you plant the seed don't mean you gotta nurture it. Don't mean farmers have to go back and water their plants so that they have yield a harvest. Okay. So if you're not watering those plants and you're not putting in the time and the effort, your plants will not be super fruitful. Be intentional about what you are doing. I want to just put them. I think this is important what you're saying. Like I really am looking into this in a deeper level because I don't feel like men. Not even saying that like you guys really y'all not gonna know what it is to be a woman, and that's just like anatomically and biologically and just from a regular perspective, just like what it is. Y'all don't have to go through what we go through. But the more we have conversations and the more we're sitting here and having these like round tables, I feel like put yourself in our shoes and we put yourself in your shoes. Like he doesn't know what to do, so maybe like talk to him more about like how you're feeling. Maybe let him don't be afraid to say like, babe, like I can't do it today. Like I literally am going crazy. Can you please, like how you said, all right, I'm gonna take the baby from you for a couple hours. But a lot of dads don't do that though.
But before that though, like I don't want to be like I'm different than any other man.
You're
like,
not.
It's
a learning experience.
Yeah, like she had to teach me about how serious childbirth was, or like the woman body, and like how she feel about birth control. These things I credit my wife on educating me on because I didn't value none of this stuff.
For 3 years.
We don't want no kids. You better pop that pills. You don't want no kids.
Yes,
it's on you. It's on you. It's not on me. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is like initially I wasn't really receptive, or like initially I didn't get it. I wouldn't even say that I wasn't receptive. I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like why are you feeling like this? Like come on, women give birth every day, B. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
you don't really get it until you see it.
You don't get it until you there, and it's like
my dad Fanny when my sister was born. I get it.
Yeah,
right,
no, but you gotta see it.
He was like, oh, I can't, bitch.
Even when you talk about the postpartum, like you actually have to see it. Like, Lou, how was you when
29?
29. Like
it made him grow up.
But listen, but him being 29 and her going through these things, he still don't recognize it. My youngest son, my oldest son, when he was born, I was 19.
So you really didn't recognize it.
And I didn't but this is what I'm saying. No matter how old you are, you still don't recognize it until you see it. Like I didn't notice it until when it first happened with my oldest son. Transparent story. I'm asleep one day. I'm over there. I'm asleep. I hear him crying, but like I'm really like a heavy sleeper, so you got to be like crying for a long time for like me to like wake up. So like normally like I hear him crying, but he'll stop crying, so then like I'll be sleep. So it was just one night he crying. I'm like, yo, he got to be crying for like 45 minutes, like real rap. Like how she didn't get up yet because she slept light. So like I'm like, dang, she didn't get up. I get up, I roll over. He's sitting on the bed next to me. She's sitting on the bed next to me, Indian style. Baby on her lap. He crying. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, why are you just letting him cry? Why are you sitting there? Like, what are you doing? And she like, I can't get him to stop crying. But she crying. So they both just sitting there crying.
God.
And me being 19, I'm like, man, what are you doing? Give me the baby. Like, what's up with you? Not even understanding what she was dealing with, what she was going through. Like at the time she's 17. I'm 19. She don't know what's what.
She don't. And it's not even her age. It's just like
and if you don't got a kid, right? Exactly. You don't even know.
It's both things. It's not her age and not being a parent.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like when I would go over there with my wife and shit. Like I would get the baby when I walked through the door at 6 o'clock, and I leave at like 2 in the morning. I had the baby the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's like you don't realize the whole visit I had the baby. Like you his mom. That's how I started. Like, are you detached? Are you detached from the baby? Like, what's up? That's how I started to put it together. Like,
nah, man, it just be that. Like, honestly, they be so burnt out from carrying that baby from damn near a year.
Right.
Like, honestly, like I get it. I don't get it to 1,000% because I have never carried a child. But from the time that you conceive, I want women to understand this because I have this conversation with women a lot of times, and they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, are you having kids? I have clients who have known me since like years, and they're like, "You still don't have kids? We're scared. What's going on here?"
Right.
I look at what's going on, and it's just like it's no guarantee. I just need to know I have the best support possible, and I'm just like, I'm scared, and I'm just like, yo. Make your partner understand they need to be accountable for just making sure that you're okay. Like at the very least, don't be leaving everything on you. It's not fair.
Absolutely.
It's not fair because you already gotta carry the baby. Pregnancy is not 9 months. Let me tell you bitches, it's 30 days plus that. It's 10 months for real. I'm gonna just say that. When you're in the hospital, you don't have the best nurses that teach you how to breastfeed. Ask questions, as many questions as you can. Make sure the father of your child is asking questions also, and that he's there with you so he can see what they're teaching you, so he can see how he can be an asset to you. I don't think that every woman is introduced to motherhood the same way. But what I can say is that the more questions that you ask, the better off you will be. And I feel like the more in tune you are with your child's father, the better off you'll be. Because if y'all don't know something, y'all can have a conversation like, yo, we don't know about this. Can we ask the nurse or can we ask the doctor together? Right. I'm not embarrassed to do that. Even just by myself. So, I'm just, I always tell my clients, yo, whatever it is, let me know. I'm about to ask these niggas. Period. I ask questions on top of questions because the population I work with are people who do not come from the country, who do not know what their rights are. So I have to advocate for them as far as how the medical system goes and what is available to them based on where they are. I have to meet them where they at wholeheartedly. So I take that to 1,000%. But go ahead.
I'm gonna just throw 2 cents on there. Is like as men and as fathers, the things you don't think you're accountable for. That's still your job to do.
It is.
We grow up as guys, the mama do it. That's the wrong way to even look at being. You on the wrong foot already trying to be a dad if you think, oh yeah, she gonna change them or she gonna, you need to know how to do, I said it all the time on my podcast, be interchangeable with mom.
Mm-hmm.
I be competing with mom, okay? I can go to sleep faster than you. I be competing.
She loves me.
Period. Well, oh my God.
I done broke my stand. I'm going on Amazon tonight, bitches.
Period. Moms compete with dad. Dad compete with moms. And I'm just so glad that
we had y'all.
Yes. And we were actually able to get into that episode that deep as we did.
We didn't even get all into all right. Can we end this episode off on one thing though? Because I did want to get to that. Okay, so as a black father, right? I would love to see more black fathers do what? This.
So y'all give me one thing.
What as a father, what is the even if it's not just one thing, it could be 2 or 3 things, but just think about it. What do you feel like would benefit these kids more in this day and age? Because we can only ask y'all because y'all dads right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And times have changed, especially because you are a father of a child that's 13 years old.
Yeah, that's a fact.
All right, so I'm real big on time. So your time spent with your kids could be more than you sitting there playing 2K and they watching Cocomelon on the tablet.
There you go. Cocomelon is fucking
so
programming.
Everything about the time. We went to Rita's today. We grabbed ice cream. Daddy took us to the park. I remember him. You remember the things as a kid. Daddy teaching us how to ride a bike. Daddy went on school trips. Daddy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're creating memories with your time. Your time is almost just as equal as important as the money you have.
Right.
So don't get stuck on, I got to go to work all the time. You're not creating no memories. All that money, they don't see that you pay Pico.
Absolutely.
They don't see that you pay rent. You know what I mean? So you are creating memories with your time. So don't spend your time only in front of a television or something like that.
Right.
Like I try to do stuff with the kids all the time, even if it's going for a walk. Like Daddy used to walk with us. You know what I mean? You just create memories.
I love it, Lou, because I'm honestly, as a daddy's girl, my favorite memory with my father is story time. And to this day, I'm the best. You invite me over to tell your kids a bedtime story. I bet you they go to fuck to sleep. My dad was the elite nigga. I brought him to school for show and tell, but go ahead. That's my man right there.
Probably just being more understanding and more relatable to your kids.
Absolutely.
So just being open to cause they come from a different generation. So you gotta meet them where they at. So I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, just looking at how things are open. Now if your kid was gay, your kid probably could come to you and talk to you. Mm-hmm. But you know, in our community, a lot of that stuff is shunned. Like, it was no way, like, I could ever go to my dad and be like, yo, I'm gay.
Oh, you should have been here for the
Like-
episode before you.
Like, that wouldn't even
what I'm saying.
that wouldn't even be a conversation to be had. So, like, more so, like, just being open to other things. You know, like, in our community, we got, like, a one-track mind. You think it's like this, or you instilling these things in your kid that you learned that you felt. Like, no, just be open with your kids. Like, don't pigeonhole them. Don't corner them or make them have to be a certain way. Like, people see, like, kids be young and, like, they talk a certain way or they into a certain thing. Like, oh, they ain't really like us. Like, y'all ain't regular black kids or something. Like, you know how it is. Like, it's a thing where, like, I want you to be a certain way, or I want you to dress a certain way, or I want you to look a certain way. Like, let your kids be them.
Absolutely.
Like, be open to them being their own person.
And love them for who they are, because as a parent, it matters if you're there.
That's a fact.
Right.
I
Really
love
matters.
these dads.
Period.
Round of
Thank you
applause.
guys for joining us.
I'm
Yes.
so elated right now.
For this episode of To Each His Own Podcast. So it was To Each His Own Podcast times more than a damn. We brought y'all on a collab episode
Yes.
today. We are so glad, yes, to have you guys in.
And of course, they are our bosses of the week.
Period. So let the audience know real quickly where to find you guys.
At More Than a Dad podcast on Instagram.
And what's y'all separate Instagram? Let them know. Come on.
And
Oh,
kid
I'm-
manifest.
Hey.
I'm at Lou Mold.
Oh, all right.
Yes, and we will tag them on the episode description and the details this week. So before we don't have any more time, we thank you guys for joining us this week. I'm your number one host, Miss Chrissy.
And I'm the number one also point to be Sunday show.
We're joined by our number one host, More Than a Dad, and we thank you guys for joining us today.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.